Your alarm went off this morning, but in the dream, it was a bell. Sound from your room had crossed a border into your sleep, and scientists have a quiet name for it: dream incorporation. Here is the strange part. While you slept, some part of your brain never stopped listening to the room around you. Welcome to sleepy science. There is nothing to guard against here. Tonight, that listening can soften into something gentle. Somewhere in the dark, a faint sound drifts by. A car, a clock, a breath, and your sleeping mind lets it pass by, unbothered, unhurried. So let the questions of the day rest, and follow one quiet wandering into the night. How does the outside world find its way in? When you fall asleep, you do not fully leave the world behind. Your eyes close, and your muscles grow still. Yet your ears stay open all night long. They cannot shut the way your eyes do. Sound keeps arriving at the sleeping brain, hour after hour. Most of it is quietly set aside, but some of it slips through and enters your dreams. A ringing alarm can become a church bell. A dripping tap can become soft, falling rain. This is the question that will follow us into the dark tonight. Why do sounds and feelings from the waking world cross into your dreams? The answer begins with a brain that never stops keeping watch. For a long time, people pictured sleep as a kind of switch. The mind turned off, and the world went dark and silent. Sleep was thought to be a blank pause between 2 days. In this old view, the sleeper was sealed away from everything outside. Nothing could reach them until morning arrived. It felt true because sleepers seem so far away. You can stand beside someone asleep and go unnoticed. But this picture was gently mistaken. The sleeping brain is not a switch that clicks to off. It is more like a door left slightly open, and through that gap, the night keeps flowing in. Modern science tells a softer, stranger story. Sleep is not disconnection. It is filtering. Deep inside your brain sits a small relay station called the thalamus. Almost every signal from your senses passes through it first. When you are awake, the thalamus lets these signals flow to your thinking mind. When you sleep, it turns the flow down, like a hand lowering a dimmer. Sound does not stop arriving. It is simply held at the threshold. The brain decides, moment by moment, what is worth waking for. Most of the night, the answer is a quiet nothing. And so you drift on, gently guarded. The first careful proof came from a simple experiment. In 1958, 2 sleep researchers, William Dement and Edward Wolpert, watched sleepers dream. When the sleepers entered dreaming sleep, the scientists sprayed a fine mist of cold water onto their skin. Then they woke them and asked what they had seen. Again and again, the water appeared inside the dream. One sleeper dreamed of rain leaking through a roof. Another dreamed of being splashed by a wave. in about 42% of these tests, the water found its way into the story. The outside had quietly become the inside. It was the first clear proof that dreams can listen to the room. A single mist of water had opened a door no one knew was there. In the same study, the scientists also tried light. They shone a flashing bulb toward the closed eyes of a dreamer. Light is harder for the sleeping brain to weave in than water. Still, it worked more often than pure chance would allow. In roughly 7 of 30 tries, the flashes entered the dream. Sleepers reported flickers, lightning, or a lamp glowing in a dark room. The brain took a plane, repeating flash, and gave it meaning. It built a small scene around it. This is the quiet craft of the dreaming mind. It does not ignore the signal. It dresses it in a story. Sound behaves in its own curious way. A steady tone played near a sleeper rarely stays a tone in the dream. Instead, it becomes something the dream can use. A buzzing may turn into a swarm of bees. A hum may become a passing engine. A ring may become a telephone, a doorbell, or a bell in a tower. The dream almost never hears the sound as it truly is. It translates. It reaches for the nearest familiar object and hands the sound a costume. Your alarm becoming a bell is not an error. It is the dream doing exactly what it was built to do. One of the oldest stories about this comes from the 1800s. A French scholar named Alfred Maury described a long, vivid dream of the French Revolution. In the dream, he was led to the guillotine and felt the blade fall. At that exact moment, he woke to find the headboard of his bed had dropped onto his neck. He believed the falling wood had triggered the entire dream. This tale is often retold, though we should hold it gently. It is a single account, remembered after waking, not a measured result. Still, it captures something real about how a touch can seed a story. Notice what the dreaming brain tends to do with a sound. It turns it into something you can see. Dreams are mostly visual worlds. They are built of images, faces, rooms, and light. So when a sound arrives, the dream often gives it a shape. The alarm is not heard as an alarm. It appears as a ringing bell you can watch swing. This is called cross-modal transformation. One sense borrows the language of another. The ear delivers the signal, and the dream paints it. What begins as a vibration in the air ends as a picture in the dark. The bell you see was never really a bell at all. It was only a sound, wearing the shape your dream gave it. There is a reason the dream reaches for a story. Your sleeping mind does not like loose ends. When a strange signal appears, it seeks an explanation that fits the scene. If you are dreaming of a quiet house and a bell rings, the dream adds a visitor at the door. The bell now belongs. The story stays whole. Researchers think this weaving keeps sleep from breaking. If every sound jolted you awake, you would never rest. Instead, The dream absorbs the intruder and carries on. It is a kind of gentle bookkeeping, smoothing the night so the sleeper can stay in it. The timing of all this is remarkably quick. When a sound or touch reaches a dreamer, it can appear within seconds. Sometimes the dream even seems to prepare for it. A long dream may build toward the very moment the stimulus arrives, as if the ending were known in advance. This puzzled scientists for years. The likely answer is simpler than it sounds. The brain weaves the signal in and then arranges the story around it, all in a flash. Memory stitches the sequence together after the fact. What feels like foresight is really the mind, working faster than the dream can show. Yet the brain does not let everything in. This is the first hint of something deeper. Most sounds in the night never touch your dreams at all. The fan keeps humming, the traffic keeps passing, and the dream ignores them. Only some signals cross over, and only sometimes. A soft, steady noise fades into the background. A new or meaningful one is more likely to be noticed. So incorporation is not a leak. It is a choice, made below awareness. The door is open, but a quiet keeper stands beside it, deciding what may enter and what should simply pass by. And that keeper is listening for meaning, not just noise. Here, the question begins to turn. If the brain merely leaked sound, any noise could enter equally. But it does not. Studies show the sleeping brain can still tell one sound from another. Play a stranger's name to a sleeper, and little happens. Play their own name, and the brain lights up in response. It recognizes what matters, even in deep sleep. So the world does not spill into dreams at random. It is sorted first. Some part of you is still reading the night, asking a soft, constant question. Is this something I need to wake for? You can even see this sorting on a brain recording. During lighter sleep, a sudden sound often triggers a large, slow wave called a K-complex. It rises sharply, then settles. Scientists believe the K-complex does two jobs at once. It registers that something happened in the world, and it helps push the brain back down into sleep. So a single sound can be both noticed and dismissed in the same breath. The brain says, "I heard that," and then it can wait. This is monitoring and protection, braided together. The night watchman glances up, sees no danger, and closes his eyes again. Of all your senses, hearing is the faithful one at night. Vision closes with the eyelids. Touch grows dull and distant. But the auditory system stays partly awake until the very end. Recordings show the hearing centers of the brain still responding to sound during sleep. This makes sense when you think of our long history. In the dark, you cannot see what is coming. You can only hear it. So the ear became the night's sentinel, the sense that never fully rests. It is why a whisper can reach you in sleep, and why the alarm always finds a way in. This listening is a gift from our distant past. For most of human history, sleep left us exposed. Our ancestors slept on the ground, under open sky, near animals that hunted by night. A sleeper who noticed nothing would not survive. So evolution shaped a brain that rests without fully surrendering. It keeps one thread of attention tied to the world. The snap of a twig, the change in a wind, the cry of a child. These could still break through. We inherited that same wiring. Your modern bedroom is safe and quiet, yet the ancient sentinel still stands, out of long and patient habit. How deeply you sleep changes what gets through. Sleep moves in stages across the night. There is light sleep, deep sleep, and dreaming sleep, each with its own texture. In the deepest stage, your body is hardest to rouse. The threshold to wake you rises high. A sound that would stir you in light sleep may not reach you here. This is why the same alarm sometimes wakes you at once and other times barely registers. It depends on where in the cycle you are. The gate is not fixed. It opens and closes through the night, following the slow rhythm of your rest. Some sleepers are naturally better shielded than others. The difference may lie in a small brain rhythm called a sleep spindle. Spindles are quick bursts of activity that ripple across the sleeping brain. In one careful study, people who produced more spindles slept through louder noise. Those with fewer spindles woke more easily. The spindle seems to act like a soft gate, muffling sound before it can disturb rest. It is one reason two people in the same room sleep so differently. One drifts through a storm untouched. The other stirs at every creak. The brain's own music decides how much of the night gets in. Still, certain sounds refuse to be ignored. Your own name is one of them. The cry of a baby is another. A smoke alarm is designed to be a third. These signals carry weight the brain cannot easily set aside. A new parent may sleep through thunder, yet wake at the smallest whimper down the hall. The brain has learned which sounds mean something and tuned itself to them. It is a filter shaped by love and by survival. Most of the night passes unheard. But when a sound truly matters, the gate lifts, and you rise from sleep in an instant. Smell tells the opposite story. During sleep, your sense of smell grows unusually quiet. Odors rarely wake us the way sounds do. In studies, sleepers slept on through strong scents that would turn heads while awake. This is why smoke alarms use sound and not perfume. A sleeping person may not smell smoke in time, but they will hear the alarm. It is a strange gap in our defenses, left over from how the brain is wired. The nose, so alert by day, seems to rest more fully by night. The ear keeps watch while the sense of smell drifts off to sleep. And yet scent is not entirely locked out. It cannot easily wake you, but it can quietly tint your dreams. In one study, researchers released smells beside sleeping dreamers. When the scent was pleasant, like roses, dreams turned warmer and more kind. When it was unpleasant, like rotten eggs, dreams grew darker in mood. The sleepers did not dream about the smell directly. Instead, the smell colored the feeling of whatever they were already dreaming. So the nose still whispers to the night, not with images, but with mood. It shades the dream the way a soft light shades a room. Touch has its own gentle way in. The body keeps feeling long after the mind lets go. A blanket slipping off the shoulder can bring a dream of cold. A cool draft can become wind, snow, or an open window. A warm room can turn a dream toward a summer afternoon. In laboratory tests, a light pressure placed on the skin often appeared inside the dream as being held, pressed, or bound. The dreaming brain reads these feelings and folds them into the scene. Your body is always sending small reports upward. And the dream, listening closely, answers each one with an image. Water deserves its own quiet place in this story. It is one of the most reliable ways to enter a dream. A single drop on the skin can bloom into rain, rivers, or waves. This is why the dripping faucet becomes a storm, and why the spilled glass becomes a flood. Cold water works especially well, perhaps because the skin notices it so sharply. The dream cannot ignore the sudden change, so it builds a world where water belongs. You wake convinced you were caught in the rain, only to find a small, steady drip in the next room, patiently seeping into your sleep. Motion can drift into dreams as well. Your inner ear holds a tiny system that senses movement and balance. It never fully sleeps. If your body is gently rocked, the dream may fill with swaying. A boat on the sea, a train on its tracks, a slow ride through the dark. This is one reason falling asleep in a moving car feels so dreamlike. The motion becomes the dream's setting. Even a subtle shift can seed a scene of travel or floating. The sleeping body reads the tilt and sway of the world, and the mind, half listening, turns it into a journey. Some signals come from inside you. Your body speaks to your dreams from within. A full bladder can pull a dream towards searching endlessly for a bathroom. Hunger can summon dreams of food. A racing heart can lend a dream a sense of chase or urgency. These are not sounds from the room, but they follow the same path. The brain notices a bodily need and weaves it into the story rather than waking you fully. It is trying to protect your rest while still tracking the signal. The dream becomes a message from the body, translated into a scene you can walk through. Step back, and a pattern comes into view. Sound, light, touch, scent, motion, and the body's own needs all follow one road. Each arrives at a single sleeping brain that decides what to let in. The channels are many, but the gatekeeper is one. And so our question sharpens. Why do sounds and feelings from the waking world slip into your dreams? Because the brain never truly closes the door. It only lowers the light and keeps a quiet watch. What we have not yet asked is how it chooses, and why it bothers at all. That is where the next part of the night begins. You've been with us for a while now, and your breathing has likely softened without you noticing. A soft subscribe helps another sleepless mind find this quiet sanctuary too. Now, let's pause together, one sleepy soul at a time. Rest your attention for a moment on the room around you. The small sounds you can just barely hear. A distant car, the hush of the house, your own slow breath. A moment ago, you learned that your sleeping brain is still gently reading these, sorting them, letting almost all of them pass. That sorting is happening in you right now, without any effort on your part. You do not have to listen. Something older than choice is already doing it for you, softly, in the background. The question we opened, how the brain decides what may enter, is not far away or abstract. It is unfolding behind your eyes at this very moment. Feel how little is asked of you. The night is being watched over, so you do not have to watch it. Let your shoulders lower. The next stretch of our journey moves toward how this quiet keeper makes its choices. Not long ago, scientists did something that once seemed impossible. They held a conversation with people who were dreaming. In several labs around the world, researchers found sleepers who could dream while knowing they dreamed. They spoke simple questions aloud to them. They even asked small math problems, like 8 minus 6. The dreamers answered from inside the dream, using tiny eye and face movements agreed upon beforehand. The replies were correct. A voice from the waking world had reached a mind deep in sleep, and that mind had understood. It was living proof that the door between worlds can open both ways. Those same experiments went further than speech. The scientists tried other signals too. They flashed lights toward the sleeper's closed eyes. They tapped gently on the skin in patterns, and the dreamers noticed. Some folded the flashing light into their dream as a glow. Others felt the taps arrive as a distant rhythm and answered them. Sound, light, and touch each found a path inward. This told researchers something worth noting. The dreaming brain is not sealed off from any single sense. It stays quietly reachable through many doors at once, waiting, in its own way, to be gently reached. The waking world can even leave a mark on memory. In one study, people learned where objects sat on a screen, each paired with a sound. Later, while they slept, the scientists softly replayed some of those sounds. The sleepers never woke and never knew. Yet when they were tested afterward, they remembered the sound-linked objects better. The quiet cue had reached the memory systems and strengthened them in the dark. This is called targeted memory reactivation. It shows that sound in sleep is not merely heard. It can be used, sorted, and woven into what you carry into the next day. Scent can do this same quiet work. In a well-known study, people learned a task while a faint rose smell filled the air. That night, as they slept deeply, the researchers released the rose scent again. The sleepers did not stir. But the next day, their memory of the task was stronger. The smell had reached the sleeping brain and helped it file the day away. So even a sense that cannot wake you can still shape you overnight. The rose did not enter as an image or a dream. It entered as a signal, gently pressing the memory deeper into place. The sleeping brain can even learn something new. In one careful experiment, sleepers were given pairs of smells and sounds. A certain tone came with a pleasant scent, another with an unpleasant one. The people stayed fully asleep the whole time. Yet, by morning, their breathing changed in response to the tones alone. They had learned the link while unconscious, and their bodies remembered it. This is a modest kind of learning, not the memorizing of facts. But it is real. It tells us the sleeping mind is not idle. It is still making connections, still quietly updating its map of the world. Listen closely to a sleeping brain, and you find it keeping time. When speech or steady sound plays nearby, the brain's rhythms partly follow along. The rise and fall of the sound is mirrored in faint electrical waves. This does not mean the sleeper understands the words, but it shows the brain is still tracking the shape of what it hears. It has not stopped processing. It is riding the contour of the night's sounds, the way a sleeper on a boat still sways with the sea. The listening is automatic, tireless, and far more detailed than the old picture of sleep allowed. The brain is especially alert to the unexpected. Play a long line of identical sounds to a sleeper, and the brain settles. But slip in one odd sound, one that breaks the pattern, and the brain reacts. A small signal of surprise appears, even in sleep. Scientists call this a mismatch response. It means some part of you is building a quiet expectation of the night. It learns what the room usually sounds like. Then it watches for anything that does not fit. The steady hum is safe and can be ignored. The sudden, strange sound is the one that earns a closer look. Sound can even reach in and improve your sleep. Deep sleep rolls through the brain in slow, steady waves. In one study, researchers played soft bursts of gentle noise, timed to ride the crest of each wave. The sleepers did not wake, but their deep sleep grew stronger, and their memory improved the next day. The outside sound had reached in and lifted the sleep itself. This is a hopeful discovery. The same openness that lets an alarm become a bell can also let a kind sound deepen your rest. The night's door swings both ways, toward disturbance and toward healing. Where you are in the night shapes what gets in. Dreaming sleep, with its rapid eye movements, is the richest ground for incorporation. Here the mind is most story-like, most ready to weave a sound into a scene. In lighter sleep, signals may arrive as fragments, a flash or a jolt. In the deepest sleep, most things are held at the gate. so the same alarm meets a different mind depending on the hour. Early in the night, it may barely register. Later, in a long stretch of dreaming, it becomes a bell, a phone, a voice calling your name across a wide field. The edge of sleep has its own strange openness. As you first drift off, you pass through a threshold state. Here, sounds and touches slip in easily, often as small, vivid flashes. A voice in the hall becomes a fragment of a scene. A twitch becomes a feeling of falling. Many people know that sudden jolt, the sense of missing a step just as sleep arrives. In this doorway state, the boundary is thin. The world and the dream overlap for a few soft seconds. It is the same crossing you make every night, usually without noticing that you passed through it at all. When a signal enters, it rarely takes over the dream. Instead, it blends. If you are already dreaming of a garden and a bell rings, the dream does not vanish. It bends. Perhaps a gate appears in the garden, and someone is ringing at it. The new signal is folded into the story that was already unfolding. Researchers call this continuity. The dream keeps its thread and simply makes room. This is why incorporated sounds feel so natural inside a dream. They do not arrive as intruders. They arrive as if they had always belonged, quietly stitched into a world that welcomed them in. Not everyone lets the world in equally. Some people are more porous dreamers than others. They remember their dreams often and report more outside sounds appearing within them. Others sleep behind thicker walls, rarely noticing the night at all. Scientists sometimes speak of thin and thick boundaries in the mind. Those with thinner boundaries seem to blend waking and dreaming more freely. Neither way is better. Each is simply a different setting on the same gate. If your dreams often carry echoes of your room, you may be one of the more open listeners, gathering the night gently into your sleep. Even words can find their way in. If someone speaks softly near a sleeper, the words may surface inside the dream. Sometimes they appear as dialogue, spoken by a dream character. Sometimes they become a sign, a label, a voice on a radio. The dream borrows the language it overhears and gives it to someone in the story. This is why a late conversation in the next room can seed a dream full of talking. The sleeping brain does not always grasp the meaning, but it catches the music of speech and hands it to the dream, which finds a mouth to speak it. Now, think again of the alarm. When it rings, your brain faces a small choice. It can wake you, or it can weave the sound into the dream and let you sleep on. Often, especially in deep dreaming, it chooses the dream. So the alarm becomes a bell in a distant tower, or a phone no one answers. You keep sleeping, wrapped in a story built to explain the sound away. This is why you sometimes dream around your alarm for whole minutes before waking. The dream is not failing to hear it. It is working, softly, to protect your rest a little longer. A new picture has taken shape across these facts. The sleeping brain is not a passive receiver of the night. It listens, tracks, notices the odd, learns small links, and can even be reached in conversation. It takes what arrives and puts it to use, in memory, in mood, in the dream itself. Our question was why the outside world slips into your dreams. Part of the answer is now clear. It slips in because the brain is still working, still handling the world, even as you rest. What remains is the deeper reason. Why does the mind bother to keep this quiet watch at all? Something in you is still gently awake, listening to the soft edges of the room. Just notice it, without needing to change a thing. A moment ago you heard that the sleeping brain keeps working, keeps handling the world. Even now. Feel how that work asks nothing of you. Take one slow breath and let it out a little longer than usual. We're exploring the sleeping mind together, the very thing that is quietly carrying you through this hour. There is no rush, and nowhere to be. We'll keep going, slowly. So why keep a watch at all? One idea is called the sentinel hypothesis. It suggests that sleep kept a guard on purpose. When our ancestors slept in groups, they did not all sleep the same. Some rested lightly and stirred easily, keeping watch without meaning to. Others sank deeper. Across a night, the group was never fully undefended. Even alone, a single sleeper keeps a thread of this old duty. Part of the brain stays posted at the edge of awareness. The world may be quiet and safe, yet the sentinel remains, softly scanning, so the rest of you can let go completely. The gate itself has a quiet mechanism. Around the thalamus, that central relay of the senses, sits a thin shell of cells. During sleep, this shell helps hush the flow of signals inward. It is part of why the world grows dim as you drift off. Sound still arrives, but it is turned down before it reaches your awareness. When something meaningful breaks through, this same system can lift, letting the signal rise. So the dimming is not a wall. It is a dial, always being adjusted. The brain sets the volume of the outside world, moment by moment, all through the night. Every night, the brain solves a delicate problem. Wake too easily, and you never rest. Sleep too deeply, and you miss what matters. Incorporation is the graceful answer in between. By folding a sound into a dream, the brain can register it without breaking sleep. You stay in the dream, yet the signal has been noted. It is a compromise built from millions of years of trial. Full alarm is costly. Total deafness leaves you exposed. So the mind found a third path, one where the world can enter softly, be handled inside a story, and leave your rest unbroken. Sometimes the mind rehearses waking itself. You may dream of rising, turning off the alarm, and starting your morning, only to find you never moved at all. These are called false awakenings. The dream builds a small copy of your room and your routine. It can feel utterly real. Often these dreams are seeded by the very alarm still ringing beside you. The brain, hearing the sound, dreams a response to it. It acts out getting up while keeping you asleep. It is a strange loop. The mind answering the world with a dream of answering, all without ever leaving the bed. The gate does not judge by loudness alone. A soft, meaningful sound can pass where a loud, dull one cannot. Your name, whispered, may reach you when traffic roars past unheard. The brain weighs meaning, not just volume. It runs a quiet sorting of what is safe to ignore and what deserves attention. This sorting draws on everything you are and everything you love. A parent hears a child. A traveler wakes at an unfamiliar sound. The night is filtered through a personal lens. So the world that enters your dreams is not just the world outside. It is the world that matters to you. Long ago, one thinker called dreams the guardians of sleep. He believed the dream existed to keep you sleeping through disturbance. Modern science does not accept the whole of that old theory, but a gentler version seems to hold. Dreams do help smooth the night. By absorbing a stray sound or feeling into a story, the dream keeps the sleeper from surfacing. It is a buffer between you and the world. Not a perfect shield, but a soft one. The dream takes the small shocks of the night and cushions them, turning what might have woken you into one more passing scene. Some signals carry more weight than others. A harsh, sudden, or jarring sound is more likely to break through. The brain seems tuned to danger even in sleep. A gentle hum can be ignored for hours. A sharp crack pulls attention at once. This makes sense for survival. The sounds that might mean harm are the ones worth noticing. So the emotional color of a sound helps decide its fate. Warm and steady, it fades into the background. Sharp and strange, it rises toward the surface, or enters the dream as something insistent. A knock, a shout, a storm gathering on the edge of the scene. What you expect can shape what gets in. If you are waiting for a call you have been hoping for, a faint ring is more likely to reach your dream. If a new baby sleeps nearby, the smallest cry becomes loud in your mind. The brain leans toward the sounds it has been told to watch for. Expectation tunes the gate in advance. This is why worry can follow you into sleep, and why a night before a big morning feels so light. Part of you is listening for the thing you fear to miss. The dream, in turn, keeps building scenes around that quiet, waiting attention. The world that enters is always changed. A dripping tap becomes a waterfall. A phone becomes a bird. The dream never copies the signal exactly. It reshapes it to fit the story already underway. This is why the dream version can seem so far from the real sound. The brain is not recording. It is interpreting, guessing, building meaning from a fragment. It takes the raw hint and asks, "What could this be?" Then it answers with whatever the dream needs. So incorporation is not a clear window onto the room. It is a translation, and like all translations, it adds something of its own. Here the question turns once more. We began by asking why the outside world slips into your dreams. We can see now it slips in through a watchful, choosing brain that keeps you safe while you rest. But something quieter has surfaced beneath that. If some part of you is always listening, then you are never wholly sealed away. Even in your deepest sleep, a thread still ties you to the room, the night, the world. The boundary you imagined between waking and dreaming is thinner than it seems. What the second half of tonight follows is what that thin, living boundary really means. What just surfaced, that you are never fully sealed away, that a thread always ties you to the world, is not only an idea about the brain. You may be feeling it right now. Even here, half adrift, some part of you still knows where you are. That knowing is not a burden. It is the same gentle watch that has kept every sleeper safe through every dark night. Notice, if you can, that you do not have to hold that thread yourself. It holds on its own. Let your body grow a little heavier against the bed, and let that quiet watch do its work without you. The second half of our night follows this thread inward, toward what it means to rest while still belonging to the world. You can watch the sentinel appear in a simple way. Sleep somewhere new, and your first night is often uneasy. Scientists found the reason. In an unfamiliar place, one half of the brain sleeps more lightly than the other. It stays a little more alert, a little more ready to wake. This is the first night effect. Part of you is standing guard in the strange room. By the second night, when the place feels safer, both halves rest more evenly. The watch relaxes when the world feels known. It is an ancient Corsian, quietly deciding whether it is truly safe to let go. Some animals take this watch much further. Dolphins sleep with only half their brain at a time. One half rests while the other stays awake, keeping one eye open. This lets them surface to breathe and watch for danger, even in sleep. Many birds do the same. A bird can rest one side of its brain while the open eye scans the sky. It is called sleeping with half a mind. For them, the door to the world is never fully closed. Their survival depends on it. In us, that same watchfulness survives in a softer, quieter form. Watch a row of ducks settle down to sleep. The ones in the middle close both eyes and rest deeply. But the ducks on the ends do something clever. They keep the outer eye open, the one facing the edge of the group. That half of the brain stays alert to the world beyond. The birds on the inside, shielded by their flock, can let go fully. It is a shared watch, spread across the group. The safest place is the middle, guarded by others. It is an old arrangement. and one our sleeping ancestors surely knew as well. In Umans, the watch is subtle but real. We do not sleep with one eye open. Yet the lighter sleeper, the parent, the traveler, the soldier, all know a shallower rest. In new or uncertain places, sleep stays closer to the surface. The brain holds a little more attention in reserve. When home feels safe and familiar, sleep sinks deeper and steadier. So the depth of your rest is quietly tied to how safe you feel. The body will only fully let go when it trusts the night. Safety, more than anything, is what lets the sentinel finally rest. Your listening began before you were born. In the womb, a growing baby can hear the mother's heartbeat, her voice, the muffled sounds of her world all reach the developing ear. By birth, a newborn already knows that voice. Given a choice, infants turn toward their mother's voice over a stranger's. They learned it in the dark, months before their eyes ever opened. From the very start, we were creatures of sound, tuned to the world through hearing. The ear was our first window, listening while everything else was still forming. That early listening never truly stops. Newborns carry this listening into sleep. A sleeping infant startles at a sudden loud sound, arms flying out. Yet the same baby can sleep through steady, familiar noise. Many parents learn that a quiet house wakes a newborn faster than a busy one. The steady hum of life feels safe. It was, after all, the sound of the womb. So, from our earliest nights, we sleep best inside a gentle blanket of sound. Silence can feel exposed. A soft, continuous murmur tells the young brain that the world is near, ordinary, and safe enough to rest within. This is why sound can comfort as well as disturb. A lullaby, a soft voice, the wash of rain, all can ease a mind towards sleep. The same open ear that lets in the alarm also lets in the calm. Played gently, familiar sounds slow the breath and settle the body. They give the sentinel something steady to rest against. Many people cannot sleep in true silence, but drift off easily to a quiet hum. The openness of sleep is not only a risk, it is also a way for kindness to reach you, even after you have let go of the day. Familiar sound signals safety to the brain. A steady fan, a distant train, the rhythm of waves, all say the same thing. The world is turning as it should. Nothing has changed. There is nothing to wake for. The brain relaxes into that steadiness. This is why so many people sleep with a background sound running. It is not the noise itself that soothes. It is the constancy. A predictable world asks nothing of the watch. And so the watch grows quiet, and sleep can deepen beneath a soft, unbroken sound that promises the night is calm. Steady noise works by hiding the sudden. A quiet room makes every small sound stand out. A creak, a click, a distant voice. Each one can pull the sentinel to attention. A gentle, even sound fills those gaps. It smooths the night into one soft texture, so no single noise can pierce it. The sharp edges are softened and blurred. With nothing new to notice, the brain stops checking. This is the quiet gift of a fan or a stream of rain. It does not silence the world. It wraps the world in something even, so the mind can finally stop listening so hard. The world enters your dreams by memory too. Not only live sounds, but the day itself seeps in. Faces you saw, worries you carried, places you passed, all drift into the night's stories. The brain gathers the day's fragments and folds them into dreams. This is a slower kind of incorporation, arriving from within rather than from the room. Yet it follows the same law. What touched you does not simply vanish. It waits, and then it returns, reshaped, inside the dream. So the dream is woven from two threads at once: the world around you now and the world you carried here. This is why the boundary feels so soft. Inside a dream, the outer world and the inner one blend without a seam. A sound from the room becomes a character. A worry from the day becomes a landscape. There is no clear border where the world ends and the self begins. The dream is where they meet and mingle. Waking life keeps them apart, sorting outside from inside all day long. Sleep lets that sorting rest. And in the blending, something honest appears. The mind was never a sealed room. It was always a shore, where the tides of the world came softly in. Picture the dream as a meeting place. On one side stands the world, sending its sounds and touches. On the other stands you, with your memories and feelings. The dream is the room where they come together and speak. The alarm brings a sound. You bring a lifetime of bells. Together, they make the church tower you find yourself standing beneath. Neither made it alone. This is why dreams feel so personal and so strange at once. They are built from the world, but shaped entirely by you. Every night, you and the world meet in the middle and make something new. Something curious follows from all this. The brain never simply sees the world. It builds a picture of it, always guessing, always filling gaps. Even awake, your sense of reality is a kind of careful story, checked against your senses. In dreams, that same story building keeps running, but with fewer facts to correct it. So a dream is not a broken version of perception. It is perception itself, let loose. The alarm becoming a bell shows the machinery plainly. The mind takes a hint and makes a world. It does this all day too, so smoothly you never notice the guessing underneath. Waking life hides this craft well. When you open your eyes, the world seems simply there, whole and solid. But your brain is quietly assembling it from signals, moment by moment. Light, sound, and touch arrive as raw data, and the mind turns them into meaning. Dreams reveal the same process, working without the world to anchor it. That is why a dream can feel completely real while it lasts. It uses the very same tools. The difference is only that. Awake, the world keeps correcting the guess. Asleep, the guess is free to become whatever the night requires. So the alarm and the bell are a small lesson. A single sound arrived, and your mind built a whole scene to hold it. It shows a bell, a tower, a morning, a place. None of that was in the sound. All of it came from you. This is how you meet every moment, awake or asleep. The world offers a hint, and you supply the meaning. Usually, the fit is close, and life feels seamless. In dreams, the fit is looser, and the seams show. But the maker is the same. You are always building the world you find yourself inside. Some dreamers learn to shape this on purpose. Those who know they are dreaming can sometimes steer an incoming sound. A ringing that might become an alarm can be turned, in the dream, into music instead. They take the raw signal and choose its costume. Most of us do this without any control, letting the dream decide. But the lucid dreamer shows that the weaving can be guided. It hints at how flexible the sleeping mind really is. The same sound could become a warning or a comfort. What it becomes depends on the hand that shapes it in the dark. The watch also listens to time. Many people can wake themselves at a chosen hour, without any alarm at all. Decide firmly to rise at 6, and often you will, minutes before the clock. Some part of you tracks the night's passing and prepares. This inner timing is not perfect, but it is real. It shows the watch is not only aimed outward at sounds, it also keeps a quiet count of the hours. Even in sleep, the brain knows roughly where it stands in the night, and it can ready you to surface when the moment you asked for arrives. Your body prepares to wake before you do. In the hour before your usual waking time, a gentle rise begins. A hormone called cortisol climbs, readying the body for the day. This happens on its own, guided by an inner clock, before any alarm sounds. When you wake naturally, you often feel clearer, because the body was already rising to meet the morning. An alarm that fires too early cuts across this, catching you mid-descent in a dream. But left alone, the body knows. It has been quietly preparing, from the inside, to bring you gently back to the light. So waking comes partly from within. We imagine the alarm pulls us out of sleep, but often the body was already on its way up. The inner clock, the rising hormones, the lightening sleep all lead toward the surface. The alarm only meets you there. This is a kinder picture of the morning. You are not yanked from the dark against your will. You are rising on a slow tide that started hours ago. The watch that guarded your night also guides your return. It held you while you slept, and now it carries you, softly, back toward the day. And here is the tender heart of it. Because the watch is there, you are free to let go. You do not have to guard yourself. Some older, deeper part of you is already doing it. That is what makes true rest possible. A creature that had to stay fully alert could never sleep at all. Only because something keeps watch can the rest of you surrender completely. So the openness of sleep is not a danger to fear. It is the very thing that lets you release your grip on the night, trusting that you will be reached if you are truly needed. The thin boundary is generous, not fragile. Yes, it lets in the alarm and the storm, but it also lets in the voice of someone who loves you. It lets in the rain that soothes, the lullaby that settles, the hand that rests gently on your shoulder. A sealed mind could receive none of this. The same openness that carries disturbance also carries comfort. So the door left ajar is a kindness. It keeps you connected to warmth as well as to warning. Even asleep, you remain within reach of the world's gentleness, able to be soothed without ever waking. This is why we feel another's presence in sleep. Share a bed, and some part of you senses the other through the night. Their breathing, their warmth, their small movements all reach you softly. You sleep differently beside someone than alone. The watch registers them, and finding them familiar relaxes. Their presence becomes part of the safe, steady background that lets you rest. Many people sleep more deeply next to someone they trust. The sentinel, sensing a known companion near, lowers its guard. We were built to sleep together, watched over by each other, safer for not being alone. The night, then, is a shared and listening space. Even alone in a quiet room, you are held within a web of sound and sensation. The house settles. The wind moves. The world breathes on around you. Your sleeping mind takes it all in, sorting the safe from the strange, keeping you within the world even as you leave it. You are never truly cut off. You rest inside the night the way a stone rests inside a river, surrounded, touched on all sides, carried by a current that asks nothing of you but that you let yourself be held. What the watch protects is your rest itself. It guards the body, yes, but more than that, it guards your right to let go. Every night, it takes over the task of staying alert, so that you do not have to. It carries the burden of vigilance through the dark hours. This is its quiet gift. Because it holds the watch, you are allowed to stop holding it. You can sink beneath thought, beneath worry, beneath the need to be ready. The deepest rest is only possible because something faithful stays awake at the edge, keeping the night for you. And so the whole night gathers into a single understanding. The mind never fully closes the door to the world. It keeps a soft, listening watch through every hour of sleep. This is not a flaw in our rest. It is the reason rest is possible at all. Because a part of you stays faintly connected the rest of you can safely disconnect. The openness that lets the alarm become a bell is the same openness that lets you feel safe enough to let go. To stay a little tied to the world is exactly how we are freed to leave it for a while. The listening runs entirely on its own now, the way the tide returns to the shore without being called. You do not tend it. You never did. Something is gathering toward one quiet idea, that you were never meant to guard the night yourself. That is what the watch is for. You can set down the last of your vigilance and let it be held for you. Feel your body settle a little deeper, your breath grow a little slower, your grip on the day loosening finger by finger. There is nothing left for you to keep. What we have been moving toward all night is close now, and it asks nothing of you but to rest. Think of the rain that was never there. A small drip in the dark, and your dream fills with falling water. You stand in a soft storm that came from a single drop. The world offered a hint, and you made a whole sky. There is nothing to fear in this. It is only your mind, being gentle with a sound, dressing it in something you know. The night is full of such small kindnesses, turning the plain into the beautiful. Think of the bell that was your alarm. A sound meant to pull you up became, instead, a tower in the distance. The dream took the sharp edge off and made it far away. It let you stay a little longer in the quiet. Even the thing built to wake you was softened first. Your mind reached for something old and calm, a bell across a valley, and handed the morning a gentler face. That, too, is the watch, protecting your rest. A voice drifts in from another room. In the dream, it becomes a friend beside you. The words you could not quite hear become a conversation you seem to know. The world sent a murmur, and you gave it a face. This is how the night keeps you company. It takes the sounds around you and turns them into presence. You are not alone in the dream. You are surrounded by figures made from the soft noises of a house that is still awake. A cool breath of air moves across your skin. In the dream, it becomes a breeze off the water. You feel it on your face as you stand near a quiet shore. The room grew cool, and your mind built an ocean to explain it. Nothing was wrong. Something small was simply noticed and made lovely. The dream does this again and again, taking the plain weather of your room and turning it into places worth wandering through. Every sound in the night is met with a story. Nothing arrives and stays bare. The creak becomes a footstep. The wind becomes a voice. The hum becomes the sea. You are a maker, even in your sleep. You cannot help but give the world meaning. This is not a burden you carry. It is simply what a mind does. It greets each small thing and offers it a shape. Softly, without your effort, all through the dark. Nothing reaches you unaltered. The world does not enter your sleep as it is. It is caught, softened, and reshaped before it touches you. The sharp is dulled. The strange is made familiar. By the time a sound becomes a dream, it has already been made gentle. This is a quiet mercy built into rest. You do not meet the raw night directly. You meet only what your mind has already smoothed and turned into something you can hold. The watch keeps only what you need. Most of the night, it lets everything pass. It holds nothing, wakes for nothing, asks nothing of you. Only when something truly matters does it stir. So you can trust the silence. If you are not being woken, there is nothing to wake for. The stillness itself is a message. It says the watch has looked and found the night calm and decided you may go on resting, undisturbed. You are listened for, not only listening. Somewhere, a part of you keeps you in mind through the night. It notices your breath, your warmth, your place in the dark. It waits, ready, in case you are needed. You are not adrift and forgotten in sleep. You are attended, quietly, by your own faithful watch. Like a child asleep in a house where someone loves them, you rest inside a care that never looks away, even now. The house breathes around you. It settles and shifts and sighs in the dark. And you rest inside it, held by its small sounds. The pipes, the walls, the wind at the window all say the same soft thing. The world is here, and it is calm. You are not floating in emptiness. You are cradled inside a living, murmuring night that surrounds you on every side. Let its quiet breathing become the rhythm of your own. The night carries you like water. You do not have to swim or steer. You only have to float, and let the current move beneath you. The sounds and feelings of the dark lift and carry you along. There is nowhere to arrive. There is only this slow, gentle drifting. Let the night hold your weight the way water holds a leaf. You are light upon it, going wherever the soft current chooses, needing to do nothing at all. You need not hold the thread. The thin line that ties you to the world holds on by itself. You do not have to grip it, or check it, or keep it. It will not slip while you sleep. So you can let your hands open. You can let your mind loosen. The connection remains, whether you tend it or not. That is the whole gift of the watch. It frees you from having to hold on, so you can finally let go. Sleep is not leaving the world. It is trusting it. When you drift off, you are not abandoned or sealed away. You are simply releasing your grip, believing the night will keep you. Every time you sleep, you make that quiet act of trust. And every morning proves it was safe. The world was there all along, watching softly, waiting to return you to the light. Tonight, you can trust it once more and let yourself go under. The open door lets in warmth. It is not only sounds that reach you. It is comfort too. The soft light, the gentle voice, the hand upon your back, all pass through the same open door. To be reachable is to be reachable by kindness. So the thin boundary is a blessing. It keeps you within reach of everything tender in the night, able to be soothed and held even as you sleep. Nearby, someone breathes. If you are not alone, that breath is reaching you now. Slow and even, it tells your sleeping mind that all is well. Their presence settles into the safe background of your rest. You sleep more deeply for it, guarded by their nearness. And if you are alone, the world itself keeps you company, breathing in the wind and the walls. Either way, you are not without company in the dark. The morning will come from within. You do not have to wait for it or fear it. Deep in your body, a slow tide is already turning toward the light. When the time is right, it will lift you gently upward, on its own. Until then, there is nothing to do but rest. The return is arranged. The watch that held your night will also bring you back, softly, when the hour has come. You can leave that to it entirely. Until then, let the sounds pass like leaves. Each small noise floats by on the surface of the night. You do not need to catch any of them. Let them drift past, one after another, and be gone. The car, the clock, the distant voice, all leaves upon a slow stream. Watch them go without reaching out. There is nothing among them for you tonight. Let the current take each one gently away into the dark. The alarm can wait. Whenever it comes, your mind will meet it. It may become a bell, a voice, a far-off ringing woven into a dream. You do not have to brace for it now. The watch will handle it when it arrives, softening it, turning it into something you can hold. So there is no need to listen for it. Let it stay in the future where it belongs, and let this moment be only for rest. You are never alone in the dark. The world stays near, breathing all around you. Even in the deepest sleep, a thread still ties you gently to it. You have not fallen off the edge of anything. You are here, held within the night, surrounded on every side. That nearness is not a weight. It is a comfort. It means that wherever your dreams may wander, the real and steady world is waiting, close by, to keep you. The boundary is soft, and that is mercy. If the wall between you and the world were solid, nothing could reach you. Not warning, not warmth. But it is thin and kind. It lets through only what it must, and gentles even that. So you are protected without being imprisoned. You are open without being exposed. This soft edge is one of the quiet mercies of being alive, letting the world touch you lightly while you rest. Let the room fade now. Let its walls grow distant and dim. You do not need to hold the shape of where you are. Let it soften and blur at the edges. The watch remains, even as the room disappears. You can lose the world and still be kept by it. so let the details slip away. Let the room become a warm and shapeless dark. There is nothing left in it that you need to see. The mind still hums, quietly, for you. Beneath your fading thoughts, it keeps its soft and faithful work. It sorts the night, guards your rest, and asks for nothing in return. You do not have to thank it or help it. It simply hums on, the way it always has, the way it will until morning. Let its quiet working be the last thing you notice. A soft machine of care, running gently in the dark. Whatever comes will be turned to something gentle. A sound, a feeling, a stray piece of the night. All will be softened before they reach you. Your mind will meet each one and make it kind. So there is nothing approaching that you need to fear. The night has no sharp edges left for you. Everything that arrives will be smoothed into a dream, into rain, into a bell far away. You are safe inside that gentle making. You are held on all sides, by the walls, by the dark, by the soft sounds of the world, by the faithful watch within. There is no direction in which you are not cradled. You could not fall if you tried. The night surrounds you completely, holding your weight without effort. So you can stop holding yourself. Let every part of you sink into that holding. You are supported, entirely, by a night that will not let you go. Rest is allowed. You do not have to earn it or stay ready for it. The watch has you. It has taken up the whole burden of the night, so that you can lay yours down. There is nothing left for you to guard. There is nothing left for you to do. Simply let go and let yourself be kept. The permission you have been waiting for is here. Rest. You are allowed. You are held. You are safe. So why does the world slip into your dreams, not to disturb you? To stay with you. All night. The world leans close and whispers, and your mind turns each whisper into something soft. You were never shut out, and you were never shut in. You have simply been kept company through the dark, held gently by everything around you. You are not alone in your sleep, and you never were. You can let go completely, because the world is still holding you, and it will not set you down. 100 quiet facts ago, we were asking how an alarm becomes a bell in a dream. Now we know it is no accident. It is the work of a mind that never stops listening. We followed a fine mist of cold water as it turned to rain inside a sleeper's dream. We watched a dolphin rest with half its brain awake, one eye open to the sea. We heard how your own name can reach you through the deepest dark. What began as a small, strange puzzle became something larger. The world and your sleep were never truly separate. They have been touching, gently, all along. The world has been keeping you company all night, turning each sound it sends into something soft. You carry that now, a quiet knowing that you are never fully cut off, and never fully alone. Where science becomes the softest place to rest. Should this hour of gentle facts have loosened the grip of a restless night, you might leave a quiet like, a soft subscribe, or share it with someone who lies awake listening to their own dark room. It helps another tired mind find this quiet place. One quiet tap, one sleepy soul at a time. Somewhere close by, a small sound is drifting past. A clock, the hush of the house, and your mind is already softening it into something kind. You do not have to shape it. That gentling is happening on its own, the way it has every night of your life. Let your whole self dissolve into that soft turning, where every sound becomes rain, becomes a bell far away, becomes nothing you need carry. You were always kept company here. You can let the last of yourself go loose and be held by a world that never once set you down. You can let these thoughts drift away now, like leaves carried off on a slow and quiet stream. Let your body grow heavy and still against the bed. If sleep comes, let it take you to that soft place where every sound is already being turned to rain. The Relaxing Dream Science Facts to Fall Asleep To playlist has spent many hours here, in the quiet where the world and the dream reach for each other. The next hour follows what the sleeping mind does with all it gathers in the dark. That hour is waiting whenever you are ready. But if your eyes are closed, stay there. Rest well. Quiet one. The world is still keeping watch, so you no longer have to. Where curiosity ends and sleep begins. Good night.